Hey friends, Martin and Tucker here in the studio today making a delicious sandwich loaf. This is our everyday bread, a new recipe from the big book of bread, and we're featuring some golden wheat flour in this loaf. Come along for the recipe. So let's do this mix. I'm gonna get my dry ingredients into the bowl. Today I'm using our golden wheat. Just like the hard red winter wheat, it's a whole wheat. Nutritionally, it's the same, and functionally, it's the same. The difference is really about flavor. It's slightly milder. If I were to make an analogy, I might say that this is like coffee with cream, whereas the hard red winter wheat is more like black coffee. It has a little bit more bitterness to it. So if someone in your household is like, oh, whole wheat, this is milder in flavor, and it's a little bit lighter in color. It has a more like cafe au lait hue to it. It's also a beautiful flour that's grown with our sustainability goals in mind. It's farmed in such a way that they're using as little irrigation as possible, which means that we're doing a good job at sort of protecting our groundwater supplies. It's also grown in a low-till situation, so that means that there's less tractor time in the field. So that is another reason to choose it. Get my yeast in the bowl and salt. Give those a quick stir to combine. And then some milk, and the milk is the only liquid in this recipe. I've warmed it up a little bit. Don't use it right out of the fridge. Remember that we're trying to create an environment where the yeast and the dough feels coddled. It should feel slightly warm. In a cooler space like this, I've warmed that milk up to about 100 degrees, so don't hesitate to just warm things up a little bit and you'll have a much better rise. This is room temperature butter, so that when I put it in there, not only will it incorporate into the mix, but it's not going to chill things down too much. Now, I go in and just stir to combine. You know, I always use this thing backwards. I don't know why, except for the fact that it cleans up really easily. This is one of many breads that use sort of time as the method for development of strength. And so I'm basically just gonna mix this to combine. And then once I'm kind of like a little bit into it, usually what I'll do is just clean that off and I'll switch to my flexible scraper. You know, you've seen me use this thing 1,000 times, right? It's like my right hand. It's flexible. It has some give to it. It can conform to the round shape of the side of the bowl. Super helpful tool. And I'll just go to this sort of like press and turn method. And if you want to, you can use your hand for a second. I'm a fan of that. Like once things look like they're pretty much there, I might just give it a quick knead in the bowl just to make sure that it's homogeneous. You know, we've got some butter and other things in there. I want to make sure that they're well incorporated. So switch to my hand and we're good. Now I'm going to cover it and let it rest for 15 minutes. We'll come back and we'll give it a little bit more of a knead before we let it rise for the full first rise. Okay, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, and now we're gonna knead this dough a little bit. And listen, if it's been 30 minutes, if it's been 45, it's been an hour, it doesn't really matter. The whole point is that you allow the dough to hydrate. You get the moisture in contact with the flour, and that helps begin the dough development process. So don't watch the clock too closely, don't worry about it too much. When I come back to this dough, it's already got an elasticity that it didn't have before. It's begun to strengthen. That factor which allows it to stretch without tearing is better than it was when we left it, right? So the dough's in a beautiful condition, and we're gonna knead it a little bit. Now, you could do this in the bowl. Often that's what I'll do. I'll just take my hand, maybe I use a little bit of water, and I go in and just sort of manipulate the dough in a kneading fashion. You can also do it on the counter. Let me show you what I mean. With a very fine amount of flour, a light amount of flour, I'll just bring the dough out. Those of you who are making a lot of sandwich bread may feel like this dough is still a little bit on the tacky side, and that's okay. That's actually good. We want it to be a little bit sticky. That means that there's plenty of moisture in the dough. It means that our final loaf will rise well, and it will eat well. It won't be too dry and dense. So I'm just pressing and turning until I feel like the dough is smooth and bouncy. It's not gonna need 5 or 10 minutes. In a couple minutes, the dough is in a bouncy sort of state, which feels like it's on a good course for a rise for fermentation. So I might just give it a couple more. And what I'm looking for is to make sure that the dough isn't tearing. I don't want it to tear, I just want it to stretch. The second that it starts to tear a little bit, That says that I've tensioned it as much as I can for right now. When I press it, it bounces back. That's a happy dough. And so now it goes back into the bowl for its bulk fermentation. So cover the bowl, put it in a nice warm spot. We'll see you in about an hour and a half. All right, so it's been an hour and a half, 2 hours, and as always, you know, if it's been longer than that, it's okay. It's just in that bowl developing flavor. Our dough had a little bit more time than that, and it shows. It's well risen, it's puffy. It smells great, it smells yeasty, it smells wheaty. I can even get a little bit of honey in there. It's a beautiful loaf, it's ready to be shaped. We'll put a light amount of flour on the bench, and then turn it out. And you can see the healthy fermentation, right? I can see all those sort of fine bubbles in there. The dough feels light, feels almost marshmallowy a little bit. It's beautiful. Now, I'm gonna shape it into a pan loaf. If you have a favorite way that you wanna shape a pan loaf, then you do your way, that's cool. If you wanna see another way to do it, watch what I do. I like shaping like this because I think it gives a very uniform loaf in form from end to end. It makes a very tubular form, and I like that because it means that the final loaf has even slices from end to end. It doesn't look like a mountain range or something like that. I'm just gonna elongate it a little bit into a rectangle. I'm just giving it a little bit of what I call like an east-west stretch, yeah? And then I'm gonna take the side, I'm gonna fold to the middle and just pat to seal. I'll take the other side, fold to the middle, and pat to seal. I'm looking for any big gas bubbles in there, and at this point, it's okay to be a little bit firm with it because this is not a loaf where we want a variable crumb structure. When I cut open a sandwich loaf, I want to see a homogeneous crumb. I don't want a big hole where my peanut butter and jelly is going to fall through and land on my shoe or something, right? And now all I need to do is roll it down from the top, pressing to seal as I go. So from the top, roll it, press to seal, press to seal, and that's it. And I've got this beautiful sort of tubular form. I have a seam which is very clear on the bottom side. When it goes into the pan, we're going to put that side down so that it doesn't sort of tear open along that weakness. If you want to seal the sides, like if you don't like that little coil there, look, you can just close it. Boom. No worries. So at this point, the loaf is ready to go into the pan, but we're gonna add one little feature which I think you're gonna really like if you try it. And that is I'm gonna put a crust on the outside. Here I have a dish towel, a nice clean dish towel. I've gotten it sopping wet, and then I've wrung out most but not all of the moisture, right? It's still damp. If I put my hand on it, my hand gets wet, right? That's what I want. On this side, I've got a bowl of wheat germ. You could also use sesame seeds. You could use sunflower seeds. You could use oat flakes, any variety of things. So I've got a nice thick bed of wheat germ, and don't worry, we're not gonna waste what isn't adhering to the loaf, right? We're just gonna pour it back into my container and we'll be good to go. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll this loaf across the moist side, right? I'm just gonna roll it across, and you can see how it's shiny. I've got good moisture on there. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it into the wheat germ, and I'll just let it sit there for a second. For the best coverage possible, just let it hang out there. I'm gonna go over here and I'll talk about these pans for a second, and I'll also prepare them. You've got a bunch of choices for pan loaves. You could use the 8.5, 4.5, which is what the recipe prescribes. If you have a 9x4, you could use that as well. Or if you have a 9x5, you could use that as well. Just make sure that it is well prepared, so make sure that you use your pan spray or get in there with some butter. We have our loaf. It's got that beautiful wheat germ crust on it. During baking, this wheat germ will toast and it'll get super nutty and it'll bring a little bit of texture to the loaf. Remember that the germ of wheat is like the yolk. It's where the fats are in the berry of wheat. And so putting that on the outside almost gives this like additional buttery, creamy quality to it. So I placed it in the pan seam side down, and we're gonna cover it and we're gonna put it in a nice, comfortable ambient condition to rise for 1.5 to 2 hours. We'll see you soon. Almost time to bake. Okay, it's been 1.5 to 2 hours. I had the loaf in a nice warm place. I actually had it in my Broughton Taylor proof box, a great tool, especially in the colder months. Checking on the loaf during the proof, it rose nice and high. It's super tender and marshmallowy. If I press it with my finger, it bounces back just a little bit, but that impression remains slightly, right? When we're proofing pan loaves like this, we want to proof them almost as far as they will go in order to have maximum volume and a nice light crumb. Anybody who thinks that whole wheat loaves are dense, like something that you'd use to prop a door open with, this is not that loaf. This is a nice, light, airy sandwich loaf. It's delicious and it's ready for the oven. So let's bake. Enough talking. This smells incredible. It's buttery. It's almost like it's got this sort of toasty vanilla note to it. It's beautiful. It rose well in the pan during baking. When it's done baking, get it out of the pan. You don't want it in the pan because the loaf continues to lose moisture as it cools, right? And so get it out of the pan, put it on a rack, let it cool a little bit before you slice it. It's buttery. It's really, really buttery. And that's not just because there's a little bit of butter in the dough. It's also because we've got this nice crust of wheat germ. Super delicious, our everyday bread made with golden wheat. Great loaf of bread. Get out there and do some baking, y'all. Thanks for coming along.